In this problem, we want to write an equation of a line perpendicular to the equation y equals 1/2 x minus 3, and also through the point -4, 0. So the key piece of information here is perpendicular. Before we start creating an equation, we have to understand what that means in terms of being perpendicular. What does that mean with the slopes? Are the slopes the same? Are they crossing through? Like, what is happening there? So if we understand the terminology of perpendicular, if we have a graph, and if I have a line, let's call that our line, a perpendicular line will meet at a right angle. It'll cross through right at a right angle, just a perfect intersection there of two lines. So it's going to meet at a right angle. So what does that mean in terms of the slope? So if my slope of this equation is 1/2, so let's just call my blue line here I drew in as my 1/2 slope. My perpendicular slope has to meet at a right angle. So what do we notice? Well, if my slope was positive 1/2, my perpendicular line, that has a negative slope. And then also it has the reciprocal to that. So it would be the perpendicular slope would be -2/1. So whenever we have perpendicular, we're going to take the negative reciprocal. Negative reciprocal. So if the slopes are parallel, meaning the equations are parallel, the slopes are the same. We know parallel lines look like that, just slopes are the same. So we don't really have to investigate too much. We just know, well, they're going to be parallel, so same slopes. But here, perpendicular means a negative reciprocal. So we're going to use this slope then, -2/1, to then generate an equation crossing through this point. So we don't really care about the 1/2 x minus 3 part of this. We don't care about the y-intercept. We just care about the slope because we want an equation that's perpendicular, meaning it's going to have the negative reciprocal. So now we take this information, this point, this slope, and plug it into point slope. So this is going to be our x1, y1. So we're going to have y minus our y1, which is just 0, equals the slope, which our slope for this line is going to be -2, and you could write it as -2/1 or just leave it as -2, times x minus the x1, so x minus -4. Y minus 0 is y, and I'm going to rewrite this just to clean this up. So this is minus -4, so this is going to be x plus 4. And then we just solve. So I'm going to distribute the -2 in here. Y equals -2x. -2 times 4 is -8. And then that's it. So this equation, if we were to graph this, would be perpendicular to this equation. For this 1/2 x minus 3, it would be perpendicular. So I hope this helps.